And we're gonna get started. So we're gonna start seated on our mats today. If you're using the playlist that I put in the group chat or in the chat here in the function, you can click on it and click start, or you can start your own playlist, whatever you're using. And we're gonna start seated today. So however that looks most comfortable to you. You can sit with your legs cross-legged, or you can sit with your legs extended out in front of you, whatever works best. And maybe your eyes come to a gentle close, or you find a soft gaze on something in front of you in your space. And we're gonna begin our last class together, where we always begin class, by bringing that awareness to our breath. Inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the nose. I don't want you to change your breath. I definitely don't want you to judge how it feels. I just want you to notice what it feels like. Maybe our breath feels a little bit denser or a little bit heavier to us right now. It sinks a little bit further down in the body. That's okay. Maybe the breath feels a little bit lighter. Feels kind of like it's up around the throat, the neck. That's okay too. Just figure out what your breath feels like today. Sometimes it's easier to find your breath if you place one hand over your heart and the other one over your belly button, and you actually feel how the breath moves through the body. Maybe the hand over your heart rises first, or maybe it's the one over your belly button. Both are okay. We're bringing our focus to our breath for a few reasons. In a vinyasa class like this one, our breath is going to help us move through all of our poses and our stretches. But more importantly, our focus on our breath lets our minds just be free. It lets us not have to focus on any of the thoughts that are popping up right now. Those thoughts are still going to be there, I promise. But you don't have to focus on them right now. Give yourself permission to focus on your breath instead. Maybe you move into an Ujjayi breath. Ujjayi in Sanskrit means victorious, but we also call this our wave breath, and it's very simple. Still breathing in and out through the nose at your own pace with your own flow. On your exhale, you're just going to create a slight restriction at the back of your throat, almost like you're trying to fog up a mirror in front of you. The effect should make your breath sound like a wave that's crashing through the body. And especially because we're not all sharing the same physical space, we can make our waves as loud or as quiet as we'd like them to be. If you'd like to set an intention for today's class, I'd invite you to do that now. An intention could be a mantra. It could be the reason you stepped onto your mat today. But it's where you're going to draw some more energy from throughout class. Whatever that is for you, I want you to take 3 deep inhales into it And 3 lengthy Ujjayi exhales out of it. On your 4th inhale, maybe the eyes stay closed, but you gently begin to bring some subtle movement to the body. You make some circles with the wrists. You inhale, float that right ear over top of the right shoulder very gently. We're not shrugging the shoulder up to meet the ear. It stays where it's at. Let's inhale the nose back towards center. Reverse direction if you're making wrist circles. Ujjayi, exhale the left ear to hover over that left shoulder. Inhale that nose back towards center. Inhale, both arms come up and overhead. On your exhale, that right palm is going to float down to the right side of your mat, and you're just going to bend to the right. Inhale, come back to center. Ujjayi, exhale, let's float that left palm down and do the same thing on this side. We're trying to keep our shoulders nice and stacked so our heart stays open here. Inhale, up towards center. Exhale, float that right hand down again. Maybe you stay in the palm. Maybe this time you come down to that forearm, but only if we can keep that left sits bone on the mat. If we're rolling off of it, I want you to come back to that palm. Inhale towards center. Last side, let's Ujjayi, exhale the left palm down. Same thing on this side. Try to keep the heart open. We're just stretching the side of the body. Inhale back to center. Exhale, float both palms down to the side. Maybe roll the shoulders out a little bit. And then moving gently so that we can bring the soles of our feet together in front of us on our mat in what we call our Baddha Konasana or our bound angle. The closer your feet are to the body, the harsher the stretch is going to feel on your hip flexors. So whatever your body needs today, I want you to inhale, find that length in the spine first, crown of the head reaches toward the ceiling. On your exhale, the heart is really what's going to guide the movement forward as you try to melt that heart right over top of the feet. And I want you to honor the space between the chin and the chest as you fold. So we're not craning our neck up, but we're not tucking it down either. The gaze stays directly in front. And we fold towards the feet. And once we get there, we can inhale about halfway up and exhale. See if you want to sink about 1 millimeter closer. Doing this however many times you'd like, until you find a place that feels like a good stopping point for your body today. And then maybe you do tuck the chin towards the chest and round that spine. And notice if that changes the way that you feel the stretch. Maybe it doesn't. That's okay. Inhale, float the gaze back up towards the toes first. On your exhale, just as slowly as we folded the body, we'll come back. We can slide our hands underneath our knees, guide them together. Maybe windshield wiper the knees out to the left and to the right. And then however is most comfortable for you to come to your hands and your knees in a tabletop position, that's where we're headed next. You will know that you're in your very best tabletop position when your wrists are stacked underneath your shoulders, your knees are stacked underneath your hips. If you take a peek through your legs, you shouldn't be able to see your feet, and we have a nice flat back. We're going to begin with some cat and cow. So on your inhale, you're going to let the belly button just come down towards the mat and the gaze lifts. At first, maybe just to the top of your mat. On your exhale, I want you to push the ground away. It's like a string is pulling the belly button up towards the ceiling and the gaze goes under. Inhale, the belly button comes down, the tailbone rounds towards the shoulders. Exhale, we're going to round that spine, the gaze goes under. I want you to find this 3 more times at your own pace. Feeling free to exaggerate the movements as you'd like. You can roll out the shoulders or roll out the hips. And then coming back to center, back to stillness, we're going to begin to engage our core. So you're just going to imagine that you're trying to pull your wrists and your knees together on your mat, almost like you're trying to create a wrinkle right here in the middle of it. You should feel the belly button tuck up and slightly back. We've engaged our core. From here, let's inhale, float that right foot up, toes point down towards the ground. If you're here today, that's awesome. Maybe you also want to float that left arm out in front, kind of like a teeter-totter. And maybe you want to move with your breath, and on your exhale, you'll curl that elbow to meet the knee. And inhale it back out. Exhale to curl. Inhale it back out. Last time, exhale, curl and hold for 3, 2, 1. Extend back out. Float that hand and that knee back to the mat. I want you to flip your right palm so your fingertips face toward your knees on the mat and bring each fingertip to the thumb and back again. And then shake that wrist out a little bit. Replace it on the mat. Same thing on the other side. I want you to inhale, float that left foot up, toes point down towards the ground. If you're here today, you're doing incredibly. Maybe you also want to inhale that right arm up. And on your exhale, you can curl that elbow to meet the knee and extend back out. Exhale to curl. Inhale back out. Last time, exhale, curl and hold for 3, 2, 1. Extend back out. Let's float that hand, that knee back to the mat. Same thing on this side. You're going to flip the left palm, bring each fingertip to the thumb, and back again. Shake that wrist out. Replace it on the mat. And I want you to spread your fingertips wide. Really press into the fingertips and the pads of your palm to protect those wrists, because we're going to inhale, tuck those toes. Exhale, lift the hips up and back for your first downward dog of class. Take some time to walk the dog out. Bend one knee and then the other. Maybe you bring both knees down to hover just 2 inches above the mat and then extend them back up. It's okay if this doesn't feel particularly comfortable yet. That's all right. Come back to stillness for me. And we have our opportunity for our first Vinyasa Flow of class. If you know where you're going and you want to take yourself there, feel free. If you want to flow together, we're going to inhale the gaze between the hands first. Exhale, roll forward into your plank position. Let's bring our knees to the ground, untuck the toes, keeping the elbows as close as we can to the body. We're going to lower all the way down until we can rest on our forehead or a cheek. And I want you to press the tops of your feet into the mat. Feel the kneecaps lift. No weight in the fingertips as you inhale and float the shoulders and the gaze off the mat. You can give me a little wave. Exhale back down. One more time. Press the tops of the feet into the mat. Feel the kneecaps lift. Very gentle weight in the fingertips this time as you inhale up. And exhale back down. On an inhale, we're going to tuck the toes. Exhale, I want you to press the body up and back to your downward dog. Inhale the gaze between the hands for me. On your exhale, I want you to take the slowest walk with as many steps possible to meet your feet and your hands together at the top of your mat. Inhale for that halfway lift off of the heart up. Exhale back down. This time, generous bend the knees. Inhale, those arms come wide. Scoop the air all the way up to standing. Exhale those hands down the midline. Open up. And you're in your Tadasana, your mountain pose. I want you to take a peek down at your feet for me. We're going to build on these foundations. So maybe you take a little hop. You see where they like to land. You can rock onto the toes, onto the heels, onto the sides of the feet. Really build a foundation here where you feel unmovable. From here, when you're ready, we're going to do a Vinyasa Flow all together. Inhale those arms up and overhead. Exhale with a nice flat back to the earth. Inhale for that halfway lift off of the heart up. Exhale back down. Fingertips to the tent on the mat. You're going to step back with the left foot and then the right foot to your plank position. Option for a Vinyasa Flow if you'd love to take one. Exhale all the way down or halfway. Inhale up to Cobra or Upward Facing Dog. Exhale all the way back to Downward Dog when you're ready. Move at your own breath pace. That's another beautiful thing about doing this all virtually. You can move at your pace. Inhale the gaze between the hands. Exhale, walk to meet them at the top of your mat in that forward fold. Here's the thing about your forward fold. I want a generous bend in those knees. We're trying to get the heart as close to the thighs as we can. Take a moment to pause here. Maybe inhale for that halfway lift. We come to a nice tabletop back, no weight in the hands. Exhale back down. Maybe you take the time to tiptoe the fingertips to the left and to the right. Or you grasp opposite elbows, create a basket for the head, and sway the spine side to side. Whatever works best. Coming back to stillness in the center of your mat. Inhale, generous bend in the knees, arms come wide, scoop the air all the way up. Exhale, pull it down the midline. Open up to your Tadasana at the top of your mat. Bring the gaze down towards the feet again. Maybe you rock. You build your foundation because we're going to begin our flow. When you're ready, inhale those arms up and overhead, and exhale, sink down and back into your Utkatasana or your chair pose. Your weight and your feet has shifted back to your heels, so your toes could wave at me, and it's like we're just trying to sit down in a chair. Arms can be overhead or right out in front, and I just want you to focus on your breath. Use your core to help keep stable. Everyone's doing beautifully. 2 more breaths here. On your third exhale, I want you to pour directly into that forward fold with the generous bend of the knees. Inhale for that halfway lift, off of the heart up. Exhale all the way back down. Fingertips come to tent on the mat in front of you. I want you to peel that left foot off and float it back to a lunge. And then I want you to pivot that back foot so that the heel comes back towards the mat, but the left toes are still pointing towards that top left-hand corner of the mat. That might mean we have to step out a little bit wider. We're coming towards our warrior one stance. When you're ready, inhale those arms up. Check in with your hips. They're still squared towards the top of your mat. We have not opened them up to the side here. That right knee is right over top or slightly behind that right ankle. If that back foot is uncomfortable, ankles, toes, anything, take half a step in for me, or maybe even take a step out. Whatever makes your warrior one feel better. Exhale those shoulders out of the ears. Keep the spine nice and tall. 2 more breaths here. Come back to that Ujjayi breath. On your third exhale, let's pull those elbows down by the side. Open that heart up a little bit. And then if you'd like, maybe you grasp the hands behind the body. Open that heart up even more. And exhale, pour it forward to the inside of that right knee. Humble warrior. Release those hands whenever you're ready. They frame that front foot. I want you to pivot onto those left toes and float that right leg back to your plank position. Option for a Vinyasa Flow if you'd love to take one. Move with your breath. And remember that cat and cow is a beautiful option for Vinyasa Flows. We're all going to meet in our downward dog whenever we're ready. From this downward dog, inhale the gaze between the hands. Exhale, walk or float to meet them at the top of your mat in your forward fold. Again, take some time here. Maybe you sway and gently nod the head no, or nod it yes, shake it no. Inhale for that halfway lift, offer the heart up. Exhale, back down. Inhale, generous bend in the knees, scoop that air all the way up. Exhale those hands down midline. Open them up to the side, you're in your Tadasana. We're doing the exact same thing on the other side, so if you want to take yourself there, feel free. When you're ready, inhale those arms up. Exhale, sink down and back into that Utkatasana, your chair pose. Your weight has shifted back to your heels. Your toes could wave at me. Your tailbone goes down and tucks slightly under. Arms can be right here or floating overhead. Still trying to keep the shoulders down and out from the ears though. And I just want you to breathe. 2 more breaths here. I know you can do it. Feel how your core protects you, keeps you balanced. On your third exhale, pour directly into that forward fold for me. Inhale for that halfway lift, only if it makes you happy. Exhale back down. Fingertips come to tent on the mat. You're going to peel the right foot off and float it back to that lunge. And then gently pivot that right heel down towards the mat at about a 45-degree angle. Inhale, arms up. We're back to our warrior one on this side. So that left knee is right over top of that left ankle or behind it. We're not going over towards the toes. Hips still squared towards the top of your mat. Beautiful. If that back foot is uncomfortable, take a step in or a step out. 2 more breaths here. Keep those shoulders down and out from the ears. And then maybe on your third exhale, you pull those elbows down, open that heart up. Maybe you grasp hands behind the body, open the heart up to the ceiling even more. Exhale, pour that heart forward to the inside of that left leg. Release those hands whenever you're ready. They frame that front foot. I want you to pivot onto those back toes and float that left foot back to your plank. Option for a Vinyasa Flow if you'd like to take one. Exhale down. Inhale forward. Exhale back to downward dog when you're ready. And then let's bring our knees to the ground, untuck the toes and the hips over the heels for a child's pose. Child's pose should be a place of restoration for you. So you're welcome to come here at any time throughout class, especially during our Vinyasa flows. You're also welcome to go anywhere else. If child's pose is not what is most comfortable for your body, I'd rather you go to that place instead. But while we're here, I want you to come back to your breath. Come back to that Ujjayi breath. Always take water when you need to. I don't tend to cue water breaks, so whenever you feel the need. And if you set an intention, come back to that as well. And when you're ready, on an inhale, I just want you to come back to that tabletop position that we started in. Take a few rounds of cat and cow when you get here if it feels good to you. Come back to center. Spread those fingertips wide. On an inhale, we're going to tuck our toes. Exhale, lift the hips up and back for your downward dog. Inhale that gaze between the hands. Exhale, walk or float to meet them at the top of your mat in that forward fold. Inhale for that halfway lift if it makes you feel good. Exhale, back down. This time, if you have no neck, spine, back concerns, I want you to tuck your chin in toward your chest. And on your inhale, you're going to roll the spine up, stacking the vertebrae one at a time. If your spine, neck, or back is a concern, I want you to inhale those arms wide, scoop the air all the way up. And we're all going to meet in our Tadasana at the top of our mat. We've been here before. Bring the gaze down to the toes. We're going to balance just a little bit. So I want you to build that foundation, connect to the ground. And when you're ready, inhale, arms up. Exhale, sink down and back into your Utkatasana, your chair pose. Weight is still in the heels here. Beautiful. And I want you to reach your arms out in front of you, like you're reaching to accept a gift. On your inhale, you're going to rock forward onto the toes, lift the heels off, the arms come back. Exhale, sink back into your chair pose. Inhale forward, we call this skier. Exhale back. One more time. Inhale forward, pause. Exhale back. Pull those arms in now, and I want you to find a non-moving focal point somewhere in front of you in your room. Once you found it, on your inhale, you're going to bring your weight to bear on that right foot. Gently peel the left leg off, and with grace and ease, we're going to float it back to our lunge. We're in our floating lunge now. We haven't really been this high before. Our knee is still stacked over top of that ankle. Take a moment here. Maybe inhale, lengthen that front leg. Exhale, back down. And when you're ready, inhale, arms up. And then exhale, I want you to cartwheel open and pivot to your warrior two on this side. Couple of things are different from our warrior one. That right knee is still where it's supposed to be over top of the ankle. We've opened the hips up to the side now. Notice that difference. Maybe bring your hands to your hips and notice what that feels like. Inhale, arms come back up to shoulder level. Flip both palms for me. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, back down. If that front knee is tracking in towards the left side of your mat, gently move it back out towards the right. Back foot is about parallel with the back of your mat. Flip both palms for me. Inhale up. Exhale down. Beautiful. And we're going to begin to dance with our breath just a little bit. So in your next inhale, I want you to bring your right forearm to rest on that right quad and draw an arc overhead with that left arm. Pause here. Keep the heart open, not collapsing into those shoulders. Exhale back to warrior two. Flip both palms for me. Inhale up. Exhale back down. On your next inhale, flip just the front palm for me and reverse that warrior. Bring that right palm overhead towards the back. That left arm can go down the leg or reach back behind that lower back. Inhale forward. Flip both palms for me. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale back down. One more time. Inhale forward, extended side angle on this side. We're not putting any weight on that knee joint. Our arm is right here on the forearm, or our forearm is right here on the quad. Exhale back to warrior two. Flip both palms. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale back down. Flip just the front palm and reverse that warrior. Exhale back. Last time, flip both palms. Inhale up. Exhale back down. This time, take a peek at that front knee. Inhale, bring it towards straight. We're not locking out that knee joint. There's a micro bend in it. And then I want you to reach forward with that right hand until you can't reach any further forward, and you're going to tilt and bring those right fingertips down towards the mat. So the hand could be here. The hand could be here. Wherever your hand is at, we're trying to stack those shoulders nice and open to the left here in our Trikonasana. Beautiful. Focus on your breath. Come back to that Ujjayi breath. One more breath here. On your next inhale, I want you to imagine with your left hand that you're grabbing a rope and you're pulling the body back up to where it was. Sink back into that warrior two. Cartwheel both hands back down to frame that front foot. Pivot onto the left toes and float that right leg back to your plank position. Option for Vinyasa Flow if you'd love to take one. Move with your breath. Exhale down. Inhale forward. Exhale back. All of us are going to meet in a downward dog whenever we're ready. Inhale to gaze between the hands. Exhale, walk or float to meet them at the top of your mat in that forward fold. We still have that generous bend in the knees here. That's not going to change throughout class. Inhale for that halfway lift, only if it makes you happy. Exhale back down. And again, the option exists to tuck your chin and inhale to roll the spine up, going very slowly, one at a time, until you're already in your Tadasana at the top of your mat. And you feel rooted into the ground. And you know we have one more side to go. So when you're ready, inhale those arms up and overhead. Exhale, sink down and back into Utkatasana or your chair pose. Weight still in the heels. I want you to reach those arms out in front of you. Inhale, come onto the toes, bring the heels off, arms come back. Exhale, back into skier or into chair. Inhale, forward into skier. Exhale, back into chair. Last time, inhale, forward, hold. Maybe get a little bit higher. Exhale, back. Inhale, pull just the arms in. Find that non-moving focal point. Bring your weight to bear on that left foot with grace and ease. I want you to float that right foot back to your lunge. Take a moment here. Maybe inhale to lengthen that front leg. Exhale back down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, pivot open to your warrior two on this side. Same thing here. Left knee over top or behind that ankle. Flip both palms for me. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale back down. That back foot's about parallel with the back of your mat. Arms are right here at shoulder height. Flip both palms for me. Inhale up. Exhale down. One more time. Flip both palms. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale back down. And then take a peek at that front leg. Inhale very gently to lengthen. We're not locking out the knee joint. There's a micro bend in it. Exhale back down. We're going to dance with our breath just a little bit. On your next inhale, bring your forearm to rest on that quad. Draw an arc overhead with the right. Keep that arm open. Heart is open to the right. Exhale back. Flip just the front palm. Reverse that warrior. Exhale back. Flip both palms for me. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale back down. Inhale forward into that extended side angle. Bring that forearm to rest on the quad. Exhale back to warrior two. Flip both palms. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale back down. Last time. Flip just the front palm. Reverse that warrior. Exhale back to warrior two. Flip both palms for me. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale back down. This time bring your gaze back to that knee. Inhale to lengthen it. And this time you're going to reach forward with that left palm so you can't reach any further forward, and then you're going to tilt into your Trikonasana on this side. Palm could be flat on the ground if your shoulders can do that. Maybe your palm is up here, and that's the best way to support your shoulders. Breathe in through the Trikonasana here. 2 more breaths. I know you can do it. Everyone looks fabulous. On your third inhale, I want you to grab that imaginary rope with the right hand and pull the body back up. Come back to warrior two. Cartwheel those hands back down to frame that front foot. Pivot onto the right toes. Step that left foot back into plank position. Option for Vinyasa Flow if you'd love to take one. Exhale down. Inhale forward. Exhale back. And then let's bring both knees to the ground. Untuck the toes. Maybe the big toes come together and the knees come wide and you sink back for a wide-legged child's pose. And you come back to your breath. Maybe you take some water. Come back to that intention. Generally let yourself relax here. Come back to that Ujjayi breath. Notice how the breath may have changed from when we first stepped onto our mats today. Maybe it doesn't feel that different, and that's okay. If the thoughts have tiptoed away from what is happening on your own mat right here and right now, don't judge yourself. Don't judge the thoughts. Just bring the awareness back to the breath. Tell yourself, I am inhaling on your inhale, and I am exhaling on your exhale. When your body tells you it's ready, not a second before, you're just going to inhale back up to that tabletop position that we know so well. Maybe take a round or two of cat and cow while you're here. We have one more addition to our flow to make. So doing whatever you need to do to prepare yourself for that. Spread the fingertips wide. Maybe you roll out the wrists a little bit. We're not going to be on them for too much longer. Coming back to stillness whenever you're ready. On an inhale, we can tuck the toes. Exhale, very gently lift the hips up and back. Option for a Vinyasa flow, I want you to move with your breath, and I want you to move slow. So we'll inhale forward to plank. Exhale, either all the way down or halfway. Inhale up to a cobra or upward facing dog. And gently exhale back. We have one more addition to our flow to make, like I said. But we're gonna try to keep the heart rate down and move slowly. So inhale the gaze between the hands for me. Exhale, take that familiar walk to meet them at the top of your mat. Or float, if that feels better to you. Generous bend in the knees still. Take some time while you're here. Maybe you walk to the left and to the right again. If your wrists are uncomfortable, maybe you slide them underneath the feet and let the toes massage the wrist creases. Maybe you just sway here for a moment. Release those hands from wherever they're at. Inhale for that halfway lift if it makes you feel good. Exhale back down. Your choice this time. You can tuck your chin and roll, or you can inhale those arms wide, bring the air all the way up. Exhale, pull it down to your Tadasana and open up. Whatever you want to do. Build your foundation again. Rock onto the toes, the heels, the sides of the feet. Feel yourself rooted into the ground here. Inhale, those arms come up. Exhale, sink down and back into your Utkatasana, your chair pose. We've been here a lot today, I know. We're almost done. Weight is still in the heels here. Toes could wave at me. Arms can float overhead or right here at heart center. Find your drishti, your non-moving focal point again. Bring your weight to bear on that right foot. Inhale with grace and ease. Float that left foot back and open up to your warrior two. Flip both palms for me. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, back down. Flip both palms. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, back down. We have a couple of options for how to do the next one. So we can bring the palms in towards heart center and pivot back into that lunge here. And then I want you to bring your heart so that it's right over top of that right knee. Maybe step forward and float into that warrior three. And if that doesn't really speak to you from this lunge, I want you to step forward, back to your Utkatasana, and then float that foot back from there into your warrior three. That back leg is about parallel with that hip or underneath it. We're flexing through that left foot that's floating. Arms can be right here at heart center, out to the side, out to the back. Use your core. Focus on your breath. 2 more breaths here. Come back to that Ujjayi breath. On your 3rd inhale, step forward and shake it out. Beautiful job. If you're wobbling while we do this, that means your body's working. We love to see that. We have 1 more side to go, and then we're done, I promise. So bring your gaze down to your feet. Build that foundation. You know exactly where we're going, so if you want to take yourself there, feel free. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, sink down and back into our old favorite Utkatasana. Last time. Weight is still in the heels. Tailbone still tucked slightly under. Find your drishti, your non-moving focal point. And with grace and ease, float that right foot back and open up to your warrior two on this side. Flip both palms for me. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale back down. Move slowly. Flip both palms. Inhale. Exhale down. 1 more time. Flip both palms. Inhale up. Exhale back down. Same options on this side. So we're all gonna pull those arms in towards the midline. And as we do that, feel how the core braces to keep you upright. And then pivot back to that lunge. If you'd like to pop right from here to your warrior three, you're gonna bring your heart forward, maybe step in a little bit. So your heart is right over top of that left knee joint. And then you're just gonna float into your warrior three. If that's not how your body's feeling today, I want you to step forward, back to your Uttanasana, and then float that right foot back to your warrior three. Flex through that right foot. We're not locking out that left knee joint. Arms can be at heart center, out behind us, out to the side. And we're gonna be here for 3 more breaths. Foot is floating right here by the hip or underneath it. Abs are protecting the lower back are protecting the abs. On your 4th inhale, step forward and shake it out. Oh, beautiful to have everybody. Give your thighs a little pat. Thank them for what they did. Inhale, arms up. Exhale with a nice flat back and a bend in the knees to that forward fold. Inhale for that halfway lift off of the heart up. Exhale back down. Fingertips going to touch on the mat. You're going to step back with that right foot and that left foot. Option for a Vinyasa Flow if you'd love to take one. Remember that cat and cow? It's a beautiful option. And then we're all going to meet back in child's pose whenever we're ready. Maybe your child's pose is standard. Maybe you bring the knees wide. Whatever feels great to you. And I want you to bring that awareness right back to the breath. Our bodies worked hard for us today. And your cool down, and especially your Shavasana, are where you're going to feel them say thank you for that. Thank you for the attention that you're giving to them. Come back to that intention, if you set one. Reflect on why you set it. If you found what you were looking for. If it helped you through class. We're not quite done with them yet, so don't let them go. Just reflect on them. And when you're ready, we're still going to stay in our child's pose, but I want you to inhale, float that right arm up to the sky, and then exhale, you're going to thread the needle and thread it underneath that left arm, which can stay extended out overhead or can reach back behind the lower back. And we're just going to thread the needle in our child's pose. Notice that there's a big difference in the way you feel the stretch, if that right palm is face up or face down. Sometimes that changes the stretch dramatically, sometimes it doesn't, and that's okay. Notice where you're holding tension in the body and see if you can release it. If the left arm is tucked behind us, let's bring it back overhead. Press into that left palm. Fly the right arm high to the sky. Down. Inhale, that left arm comes up. And we're going to thread the needle underneath. So we're going to end up on this shoulder and on the left cheek. That right arm can stay reaching out overhead or can tuck behind the body. Same thing on this side. Find where you can create softness. Exhale, see if you can go there. If that right hand is tucked back behind us, let's bring it back to the mat. Press into the palm. Fly that left arm high to the sky. And down to meet the left. Inhale up to that tabletop position when you're ready. And then however is most comfortable for you to come to a seated position, that's where we're headed next. I want you to plant both feet on your mat. Inhale, find that length in the spine, then let the left leg extend long on your mat. That right foot stays where it is. And then maybe you cross that right foot over top of the left leg. Inhale, hug that leg in. You can inhale, that right arm comes up and then plants behind the body as we twist towards the right here across the crossed legs. And maybe your left elbow comes to the outside of that right quad as you open the body up to the side. The gaze can come over that right shoulder. Inhale, the gaze comes back first. Exhale, the body will follow, and then gently open up to the left side. And then we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Let's uncross the legs, plant that left foot, hold the left knee in as you let the right leg extend long on your mat. And you can cross that left foot over top of the right leg. Inhale, hug that leg in. Left arm comes up and tucks behind the body as we open up to the left. Maybe that right arm comes along to help support the body. We're not pressing onto that knee joint, it's right here on the quad. Gaze can come over the left shoulder. And the stretch should really feel like it's coming from the belly button and not from the shoulders. The shoulders will come along from the ride, but I don't want you to feel like you're tweaking that upper back. We're trying to coax that lower back and that abdomen to twist. Inhale the nose back towards center. Exhale, the body will follow. Uncross that left leg. Let both legs extend out long in front of you, and I want your toes to point up towards the ceiling. It's okay if there's space between the back of your knees and the ground. Rock side to side to make sure that you're planted equally on those sits bones. And inhale to find that length in the spine, kind of the head reaches toward the ceiling. On your exhale, just like we did earlier, the heart is going to guide the movement forward. You're trying to shine the heart forward towards the toes. And you'll fold into the seated forward fold. The arms are just kind of along for the ride here. We're not trying to grip or grab harshly. Once you found a place that feels like a good stopping point for your body today, maybe you do begin to tuck the chin towards the chest and round that spine. Maybe that changes how you feel the stretch. Maybe it doesn't that much. That's okay. Again, find where you can create softness. Inhale into it. Exhale through it. Inhale, the gaze is going to come up towards the toes. Exhale, use your palms to walk the body back up as well. Hands can come back behind the shoulders. Open that heart up. And if you'd like, maybe you press off the ground onto those palms and those feet. Lift the body up in a reverse plank and then lower back down. Planting our feet on our mat once again. Let's scoot up towards the top of our mat. We have enough room to lay back down behind us. Plant your feet on your mat. Inhale, find length in that spine. Left arm comes off. Right arm comes off. And for a count of 7, we're going to all lean back together. So for 7, 6, 5, 4, pause. Smile. 3, 2, 1. Come all the way down to the ground and hug those knees into the chest. Maybe you rock side to side when you're here, or you make some big circles on the ceiling with your knees. Give that lower back a little bit of a massage. And then reaching on the inside of the knees for the outside of the feet. That's the side of the feet with the pinky toes. You can open those legs up into our happy baby. You can rock side to side here as well. You can stretch out one leg and then the other. Maybe you guide the soles of your feet together in a kind of a Supta Baddha Konasana. Whatever feels good. Releasing those feet, I want you to hug the knees into the chest again. Hold on to that right leg, let the left leg extend long on your mat. And then using that left hand, I want you to guide that right knee across the body towards the left. But here's the thing, I want that right shoulder to stay planted into that mat. So if it's rolling off the shoulder, bring the right knee back towards center. If that right leg floating high off the ground is uncomfortable for you, decrease the angle in the knee and gently float that foot down to the ground. The gaze can come over the right shoulder. Arms can be at a T or at cactus arms. And I want you to let yourself relax into the twist. Inhale that nose back to center for me first. Take a full breath cycle before you gently guide that right knee back towards center as well. Hug it in. Inhale the left leg to join it. Let that right leg extend long on your mat. Same thing on this side. You can use your right hand to guide that left knee across the body towards the right. Still trying to keep that left shoulder planted into our mat. Gaze can come over the left shoulder. And let yourself relax. Find places that are holding tension. Exhale. Two more breaths here. Come back to that Ujjayi breath. Inhale, the nose comes back towards center. Take a full breath cycle. Exhale, bring that knee back towards the center. Inhale, hug that right knee in as well. Flex through both feet and then gently bring both feet down to plant on the mat. So your knees face up towards the sky. And then just walking your feet as close to your body as you can so you can almost graze your heels with your fingertips. I want you just to press into the feet to lift the hips up into a bridge pose. Maybe the arms stay out to the side. Maybe you grasp them underneath the body. Two more breaths. Before you lower the hips down towards the mat. Last time, inhale to hug the knees in towards the chest. Maybe you rock. If there are any final asanas you would like to take for your own practice, you can feel free to explore those now. But if you're ready for your Shavasana, you can let the left leg extend long on your mat. You can let the right leg extend long on your mat. Hands come out to the side of the body. Maybe you close your eyes, or you find a soft gaze on something on the ceiling. And you let your body relax completely into the mat. See if you can clear the forehead of any wrinkles. You can relax the shoulders and the jaw. Maybe the jaw even relaxes so the mouth opens. The tongue comes away from the roof of the mouth. And just trust your mat to hold everything that you have to offer by relaxing into it. Very gently beginning to bring some awareness back to the body. Wiggling the fingers and the toes. Making small circles with the wrists and the ankles. Inhaling those arms overhead, taking a full body stretch, pointing the toes like you're just getting out of bed for the first time today. On your exhale, rolling to your right side, using your bicep as a cushion for your head. For the last time all together, reflecting on that intention you might have set. Letting it go if it no longer serves you, holding it in if you wish to carry it with you. When you're really ready, and whenever that is for you, when your breath tells you it's ready, I want you to spread the fingertips on that left hand wide and press each fingertip into the ground in front of you. And on an exhale, you're going to press into that palm to come back to seated at the top of your mat, where we're going to end class all together. Once we're here, let's inhale those palms overhead to touch. We're going to exhale them down the midline, pausing at the forehead. May we think kind thoughts. Pausing at the lips, may we speak kind words. And pausing finally at the heart, may we have kind intentions to ourselves and to those around us. Thank you all so much for sharing with me. May you all be happy. May you be safe and healthy. May you walk this earth with peace and at ease, and may you find the space to help others along the way. Namaste, yogis. Thank you all so much for joining me for my last ever class for Campus Rock. I'm going to stop the recording now.